Okay, what's up everyone? This is Olajide from CTF Security, and today in this official live stream we're going to be walking through some capture the flag challenges, and the challenge we're going to be working on is titled Post Book by ACA 101 CTF. So what we're first of all going to do is to just a second, I think I have echo. Okay, so sorry about that. Today we're going to be working on CTF, which is post book from ACA 101, and this is a very low and beginner level CTF challenge, and it covers some type of vulnerability like the IDOR attack, weak authentication, and cookie manipulation. So I actually did this on Twitch yesterday while testing my stream, but today we're going to do the same thing on YouTube and see how it goes. First of all, let's check the chat and see if we have anyone there. I think I have Daniel. Daniel, are you still there? Oh, okay, I don't think Daniel is with us. So let's just get started. Now, the first thing I want to do here is I want to use a different browser than what I have currently on my screen. So what I'm going to do is to fire up my Chrome for this. Now that we get our Chrome, the next thing I want to do is start up my Bob Suite. So all I have to do is just, let's use Terminal for that. Sorry about that. Okay, let's get this a little bit bigger. So I have my Bob Suite set up with the alias Bob Suite Pro. So the purpose of using this is so that we are able to capture requests that we are making from our target web application. So we're just going to start up this, and it's going to just take a few seconds. Okay, so we are up. Let's go back to Chrome, and we're going to close this, and let's work with ACA 101 CTF. Now, for you to be able to access ACA 101 CTF challenges, you have to first of all create ACA 1 account. So when you've done this, all you have to do is to log into that account, then visit ctf.aca101.com, and you just have to click on get started, and this is going to automatically log you in with your ACA 1 account. So that's going to take a few seconds there. Okay, so unfortunately I need to log in, so I'll just take this out of my screen and just to grab my credential for a moment, and we'll be back. Okay, so let's head to, where do I have my credential? Just a second. Where do I have it? Okay, I think I do have it here. Copy. So let's go back, and we're going to log in with my username and my password. I certainly hope the background noise music is not too much. So let's scroll down to postbook. So you can see the category. The postbook is an easy challenge, and this is the title. Is a web-based CTF, and we have total number of 7 flags to get from this challenge, and we have some button here to either terminate if you're already logged into the challenge, or hint to view helps regarding the CTF in case you get stuck. So we're going to click on start, and this is going to take few seconds to spawn up the lab. So while we wait, let's go ahead to let's say I have a directory called Aka1. I have an existing file called postbook. So I guess just going to remove the postbook directory. Okay, great. So we're going to create a new one, make directory postbook. Great. So we're going to create a text file called postbook.txt. And this is where we're going to document our findings in this challenge. Let's head back to the web application. So on the web application, the first thing I want to do is to explore the home page, and I can do this by right-clicking and viewing the page source. And you see that this is some bunch of HTML and CSS styling on the web page. So you can actually text wrap it and see. Let's zoom in a bit. You can see the CSS stylings. You can see the HTML part of the code. We have some script here using the anchor tag, which is the index.php, which is cool. We also have the signin.php, signup.php, which these 2 hyperlinks are pointing to. So what we're going to do now is let's just close this up and let's click on sign in. Let's start with the sign in functionality. Now the first thing we want to do here is to see if we can be able to brute force our way into the administrator account on this particular web application. So we have option to sign in, our username and our password. But first, let's make sure that the Bob suite is capturing our request. So I'm going to head to target, and you can see this is the URL for our target machine. I'm going to right click. I'm going to add this to scope so that we can filter by scope and eliminate all these random requests made to other targets. So we're going to move to proxy, head to HTTP history, and we're going to filter by request type, which is show only in scope item. Now, just like I said earlier, what this is going to do is just eliminate the requests that are going through to a different domain other than what we have in our scope. So we're going to click on apply, and you can see we have only in scope item in the HTTP history, and this is the request we just made to the signin.php. Now I'm going to forward this to repeater, and from the repeater section, let's take a look at what this is. I'm going to first of all send the request, and from the request here, what we can do is to render the page just to take a look at what we have. So we have a simple login page just like the one we have right here. Let's go back. So what we can do now is to capture another request. So let's go with admin as the username, and let's just go with password as a password, and we're going to try to log in. And you see that we get a notification warning us that we have entered a wrong username or password combination. Please do not hack our system because it is insanely illegal. So this is just an indication that this is a wrong credential. So we need to brute force our way into this application, trying multiple passwords to see if that will grant us access to the web application admin account. So let's move back here and we'll go to the proxy, and you can see the new request I made. And when you scroll down, you'll be able to see the credential being sent to authenticate on the server, which is username admin and the password. So what we're going to do is to send this to intruder, and from the intruder we're able to supply multiple password into this password parameter and see if that is going to give us access to the admin account. Now the success of these techniques rely on some certain things. There have to be no maybe firewall in place, or no rate limiter, which is limiting our brute force attack maybe after a certain number of try. So there are some applications which whenever you enter a wrong password more than 2 to 3 or maybe 10 times, you get locked out of the account for a certain period of time. So we have to meet all those conditions, but there's only one way to find out. Let's go to the intruder and we're going to clear. Now, before I start throwing stuff here, one thing I like to do before we even brute force the password is to try to see if you can manipulate this parameter here, because it looks like for us to be able to access the sign-in page, we have to pass this signin.php file as a parameter to the page. So meaning that if we're able to brute force this particular value here, having the .php extension, we might be able to discover other hidden pages on the system. This is useful when maybe you are trying to dictate things like maybe download directory from the system, or maybe probably you are trying to find images, or maybe you uploaded any script and you're trying to find hidden directories and stuff like that. So the first thing we want to do here, so mind you, we're going to leave this for now. We're going to highlight the sign in option here, and what we're going to do is we're going to add this to the intruder. We're going to set our payload, and the simple payload I'm going to load for this instance here is let's go with word list, and I think I have one word list from the bear buster. This will be nice. So we're going to be using directory list 2.3 small 2. We have 2.3 small.txt. So we're going to load this into the application, and then let's click on open. Now we have our payload loaded into the application, and this is total number of about 87,664, and we have some random dummy words in here. So I'm just going to take that out, highlight them, and we're going to remove. So we are left with, let's see, okay, I need to remove this one too. So we have 87,650 words we want to actually try in there. So let's go ahead and click on start attack. And this is going to take a while. So while we wait, let's put in something on our documentation. So first thing we want to try is we want to include target URL in case we need the URL for a certain kind of attack. So let's go grab that from here. I'm going to paste that in here. This is our URL. So what we're currently doing right now is, can I just put this side by side? Yeah, I guess that would be nice this way. Let's make this a bit smaller. Okay, great. So let's see. Okay, this is a previous script I have. Postbook, yeah, this one. So what we're going to do here is list what we are trying to do now, which is discovering hidden directories on the web app. So let's go back to the Bob suite. So we've tried about 2,000 words already on the Bob suite. Let's explore our results. So this is the first one I supplied into the application, and you can see that we have the signin.php here, which is the initial script which we have. So if we move to the next one, you can see that what we have here is index.php here. We also have what else do we have? Images, download, and this happens to have a content length of about this is about 1344, which is, I guess, 1344. So what we're going to do is to open this up. Now, something you notice here is for every single word you use, the .php get appended to it, because when we highlighted the word from the intruder here, we just left out the .php, meaning for every word we impute into this wildcard here, the .php should be appended to it. So that is why we are having that on our results. Now, what we want to do here is to filter. Now, but before I filter, I need to know what kind of response I'm getting. So we need to know what kind of response we're getting. I'm going to scroll all the way down and see, is there a way I can indicate that? So whenever we have 1344, it means that we have a blank page. So what we can do is to filter by length, and you can see that we have a couple of different lengths, which is the 1333, about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's like 5. So what I can do is stop this temporarily, and we can just pick this 5 domain or this 5 URL and access them. So let's go back to our documentation, and what we're going to add first is the profile. Let's call this one profile.php. That's the first file. If you want to validate that, you can switch to raw and go to request, and you see that it is profile.php and it is a status code of 302. The next one we have is the number 2, which is view.php. Okay, cool. We also have edit, number 3, to be edit.php. We also have number 4 to be what do we have number 4 to be? create.php. So I guess that's what we have for now. I'm going to close this, discard. Let's head back to our payload position. So we've been able to access different pages on the system by just forcing the page parameter endpoint. So what we need to do right now is to take this parameter endpoint and supply it into the application and see what we're able to get. But some of this application, some of these parameters or scripts we discovered might not be able to load simply because we are not currently logged into the application. For example, the profile.php, if you supply it in here, because you are not already logged into the application, there will be no profile to display. So let's just see a sample of what I'm talking about. So here, let's say I modify the page parameter from signin.php to profile.php. You see that we are being requested to log in our credential here, which we do not really have any credential recently. So that is one of the issue here. Once you are logged in, you will be able to access some of these page here by using the page parameter here along with the value. So let's try to see other functionalities that we can explore on this application. So I'm going to go back to the home page, and here let us read this documentation we have here. We have, with this amazing tool, you can write and publish your own posts. It will allow you to write public and private posts. Public posts can be read by anyone that signs up. Private posts can only be read by you. See it as your own diary. We'll make sure that your private posts are safe with us. So this is just an information from the author of the challenge, and what they're trying to put across to us here is that the profile, this particular application post book, can be used to publish posts, and these posts can be in two different forms. One, the public, and the second one is the private post. Now, for the public post, you can just post anything and everybody on the application get to see whatever you're posting, and even people that are logged in or people that do not really have an account on the application. But when you post something as private, only you and you alone is able to view that information. That is the intention of the application. So, but we are going to be exploring this to see if that is really the case. If probably we might be able to log in, create an account, and use that information to be able to access somebody else's data. And that is what IDOR vulnerability is talking about. But first, let's try to see how we can get into the application. Luckily for us, we have a sign up button. So we're just going to create an account. Let's call this Daniel, and the password also to be Daniel, and I'm going to submit. Okay, great. So we have successfully signed up. Great. Now what we want to do here is log in our credential, Daniel and Daniel. Submit. Okay, great. So we have created and logged into the we have created an account and we logged into that account here. So now if you go to my profile, if I modify the page parameter here, so this is home, this is another one, so I'm just going to add this up to our list. This is 5. Great. So we can just check around and see what we are able to do with the application. So if I modify the home to profile.php, you see that it displays information about our profile. But the logic here is, because we used, I think, URL to access this, we are not able to get any information regarding our username and our post count. So we're going to just manually click on the my profile and see what differs. So you see, if I try to modify the URL, because the URL does not have an ID parameter here, it doesn't display any information. Let's remove this so that we'll be able to see that again. Just send this. You see that the Daniel gets removed from the application. So let's go back and add that to what we have. See that the Daniel get appended. Okay, so if the application is using the initial of a user to specify the profile name, let me just try something here. What if I just remove D and probably think admin is definitely going to start with A, and just put A in here and send. Okay, we do not really have any information, which is cool on the application side. So the intention was me modifying the ID here to A in such a way that we're able to view our profile as the admin, but that didn't work. So we're going to just explore something else. So let's go back to the application. You can write a post, you can see it here, give it a title, give it a body, and then you just create your post. You can specify if you want to actually post this as a private or you want to post it as public. Then you can also view the settings here, which this particular implementation is a very bad implementation, because I could be able to modify if someone is able to have access to this page with this password embedded into the input form. I should be able to modify my developer to be able to view what my password is, and this is what I'm talking about here. So if you right click, for example, and you go to, let's say, inspect, and let's open up that form in there. Let's pick that up. So you can see that the input type is password. So we can remove this password and just change it to text, and we load. You see that it reveals the password of the current user. So this is one of the vulnerability on this system. So we shouldn't be able to do that. Now let's close this and let's just move it to the side once more, and let's go back and explore some of the endpoints that we've actually captured with the Bob just by clicking around the application. So, but before we do that, let me just quickly check the chat session. Do we have somebody else on the chat section? No, I do not think so. I do not think so. No one on the chat section. Okay, so let's scroll down a bit. Okay, so we have list of posts here. We have a post by author equals to user, and we have another post from the admin user, which is interesting because the application says that you could be able to post item or post as either a private post or public post. So when you make something public, everybody on the application is able to view that particular post. I guess that is what is happening here, because we're currently logged in as Daniel, but we are only seeing on our dashboard, because we've not made any posts, we are only seeing posts from user and posts from admin. So what we could do here is to just make our own post. I'm going to go to write post, and let's have this, let's call this hello Daniel. Oh no, let's go with YouTube first stream. Hello Daniel, welcome to my first stream. Okay, we have that post in there, and let's just leave this to be public, and we're going to create post. So you see that we now have a post called YouTube first stream with the body hello Daniel, welcome to my first stream, and we have the author to be Daniel. So let's go back to the home page, and from the home page you'll see that our homepage post timeline gets updated, and we now have a post from Daniel, which is interesting. Now we were not able to brute force the do I still have that? I don't think I do have that here. I don't think we have done that. We've not brute forced the login credential for the admin, but you can actually do that, but it's not going to get you anywhere, because the admin possibly do have a very strong password which we cannot just brute force ourselves in. So the user we're going to be brute forcing is the user called user. So this is our account, this is another user called user, and this is admin. Now what we can do is to head to the Bob suite and see what we can do. So I already have my request in here for the sign in. That is the request I made previously. So you can as well try to go to Bob just to capture a new one. Let's scroll down a bit. I think I should be having one on sign in, sign up, sign in. Yeah, that should be this one. So let's go back and send this to intruder. Great. So we'll go back to intruder. We're going to clear anything because we need to make sure that we only select the parameter we want to brute force, which is our password. Now we obviously we know the password for Daniel, but we want to know the password, or want to get the password for the account user. So I'm going to use user here, and I'm going to highlight Daniel because obviously this is not the password for the account user. Hi Sheikh, nice meeting you, welcome to my stream. So what's going on? What I'm going to do here is I'm going to highlight Daniel, and I'm going to add this to scope here. So we have Daniel added to my scope. Now we need to go to payload and set up the payload or the word list we want to use to brute force this particular user. I'm going to use, let's load up a very simple password word list. I think that should be in WFOS. We have a very general password list called common.txt. I'm going to load that into the application, and then I'm going to just start up. Okay, yeah, so we have total number of 960. I'm going to just start the attack, and this is going to take a while. If you are using the Bob Suite Professional, is going to probably take lesser time than if you're using a Bob Suite Community Edition. You can as well use some CLI tool like WFOS. The fourth can also do that, the same thing, or you can use any other tool you are comfortable using for password brute forcing. Now let's try to analyze what we have here. Now obviously the answer or the password for the account user is not 00, but when we check the request we made, so we are passing the account user as a username and we are passing 00 as the password. Then from the response, what we got is you have entered a wrong password combination, which is understandable because obviously that is not the login information for the user account. So let's try to explore, but for us to be able to exploit, since we're having about 960, I definitely do not want to start scrolling through all the 960 requests. So what I want to do is I want to move into the raw. Let's go to raw, and we're just going to copy a section of this error message here. Let's just copy this, and let's head to this filter right here, and we're going to paste this inside the filter by search item, and we're going to check the negative search. Now what this is going to do is it's going to check every response that is coming back from the server and check if the response contains this word. If the response contains the word, it's going to just filter it out. That means we do not really need that particular response. Then we get left out with the other response that we have. So when we click on the apply, you see that this gets filtered down to just 2 requests. And the reason why it is 2 is because I'm having password on my word list twice. So possibly if you are doing this on your own system, you might be having just 1 request coming back, which is the password. So if you go back to the request, you see that we have username and we have password. So the status code for the request is 302 for both requests, and the length, which is the content length of the response, is 1426. So there's only one way to find out. What we need to do is to copy. Let's send this. So okay, since we know the credential, we can try going back to the application. I'm going to sign out from Daniel's account. Let's sign out of Daniel's account. Then we're going to try signing into the user account. I'm going to try user and user as the password as well. Okay, no, that was not the password. Password is the password. So let's use password. I'm going to submit. You see that we got our first flag. I'm just going to grab that, copy this. So we are able to break into the user account. That was how we found our first flag from the post timeline. Let's grab this and let's call this flag 1. So what is flag 1? How do we get flag 1? Weak credentials. So this is how we got it, and the credential is user and password. That was how we found this particular first flag. So let's see how we could possibly get our second flag. Now let's try to explore some of the posts we made earlier, or which is one of the posts we made by Daniel. Now this particular post was made by Daniel. That is why we were logged into the Daniel account. Hi Saeed, how are you doing? So this particular post was made when we were logged into the Daniel account. So let's try to see if we can open that post. Now, if you take a look at the parameters here, just inside the URL, we have view.php and ID equals to 4. So first thing you should be thinking of is how can you poke around with this particular ID value and see if you can switch them and see how the application is going to behave. Now we're currently viewing a post by Daniel. So what if I change the from ID 4 to 1? What is going to happen? I'm going to load it. You see that we're able to view a post by admin. What if I tried maybe 39? Posts not found. So it means that we can actually modify the ID to view different posts on the web application. Oh, Said, thank you. Thank you very much for joining. How are you doing? Are you a Nigerian? So the next thing we want to do here is to try to see, can we force this particular endpoint and see if we would be able to discover different posts on the application. And a very simple way to do that, welcome Said. The very simple way to do that is head back to the Bob Suite application, take a look at our requests that we have. You can see the request to the ID number 39, which we made earlier. So I'm going to right click, I'm going to forward this to Intruder once more, and we're going to try to brute force the value. Let's clear everything. And let's highlight this one and see, can we add that to our ID? All right, that's cool, Said. That's cool, Said. Welcome. Please make sure you subscribe. So the next thing we want to do is to make sure, in case you missed what I did, I just highlighted the ID value here and I just added it to our intruder, and then we're still going to use the sniper since we are just forcing just one endpoint or one parameter on the application. So if we were to be forcing two parameters, maybe the page parameter here and the ID value here, we'll be using something like the pitchfork or the cluster bomb. So depending on our choice, each of these ones have their own capabilities. So let's go back here. We'll set our endpoint here to be this 39. Now we're going to go to payload, and then we're going to load our payload. This time around, we're not loading the word list. Rather, we want to use a payload type to be numbers. We want to use our payload type to be numbers, and we want to specify the range. Now I want to search for different posts from the range of index number 0 to index number 1000, and probably see you can extend more than this depending on your own choice. So we want to use a step of 1. Now what this step is talking about is you have an interval of 1. So after you check for 0, it's going to move to 1, 2, 3 continuously until you get to the ID number 1000. If you step 2, you're going to have 0, 2, 4, 6, 8 with that increment. So the next thing we want to do here is, you can see our payload count to be 1001, and we want to go back and just start our attack. So this is going to take a while, just 1000 words, and you can see it's running pretty fast. Okay, we just give it a few seconds to load. We have about 581, 650, 700, 800, less than few seconds to go, and there we go. So we already have all our 1001 IDs already, the ID request already sent out, so we can begin to explore them. For example, when we tried ID 0, you can see the response we got. Let's just render it. Post not found, so there's no post with ID 0. For post number 1, let's see what we got. sometimes it gets stuck. All you have to do is just go back to raw and come back to the render. So you can see that this is a post by the admin, and let's check out ID number 2. Now, to make this a lot more easier, because we're having about 1,000 requests. Oh, we have our flag already. So to make this a lot more easier, what you can do is to filter all through. Now, if you check this 15,000 or 1,500, it happens to be majority of the request. So what you can do is to first of all see what is the 1,500 request saying. Let's go back to raw. You see that we have information saying post not found. So what we can do is, just like we did before, copy, and we can filter by this particular post not found, select the negative search and apply. So we are left down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 posts left, 5 ID requests left. So we have ID number 1, ID number 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now let's see what we get. For the second one, I guess that is the one with the flag. Let's go to render, and you see that we have the flag here. So what you can do is to go back to the application and just change this from 39 here to 2, and that should give us the flag. Great. So we have our second flag. So let's go back. So for flag 2, this is an idle attack that allows us to read other people posts. Dev is not an online CTF. Is located inside is one of the challenges on the Aka 101 CTF. So what I'm going to do is I'll probably drop, let me just show you just a second. So if you want to access it, you have to have Aka 1 account, and then you go to ctf.aka101/CTF. You can see it. We have list of some challenges here. You can see them. See